The most difficult thing for me, it's a portrait. It's very difficult. It's a question mark you put on somebody, trying to say, who is it? What does it amount to? What's the significance of that face? And the difference between a portrait and a snapshot is that the portrait, the person agreed to be photographed. It's not at all like somebody you catch in the street up like this. I like to take people in the, how do you call that, environment, the animal in his habitat, yes. And it's fascinating coming in like this in people's home, looking at them. But you have to be like a cat, not disturb, on tiptoes. But certainly it's like a biologist under his microscope. When you study, a thing doesn't react the same way as when it's not studied. And you have to try and put your camera between the skin of a person and his shirt, which is not a very easy thing. And the attitudes of people are so different in front of a camera. Some are embarrassed, some are ashamed, some hate to be photographed, and others are showing off. And you feel people very quickly. You see people naked through the viewfinder. You see them stripped naked. And it's sometimes very embarrassing. And I remember I had to take for Vogue a very, very old lady, Bostonian, wonderful old lady. She smiled at me, but a sort of smile that you can't smile back at her. She wanted to check on the picture before publication, and I said, I'm sorry, I've never done that. It's a question of trust. And she agreed. She said, oh, my wrinkles. And I told her it's the only interesting thing, the wrinkles. After all, it depends how they fall, which is true. It's life. It's a mark of life. It depends how people have been living, and all this is written on their face. After a certain age, you've got the face you deserve, I think. Usually, when taking a portrait, I feel like putting a few questions just to get a reaction of a person, talking as little as possible, but still you must establish a contact of some sort. Whereas with Ezra Pound, I stood in front of him for maybe an hour and a half, in utter silence. We were looking at each other in the eyes, and I took maybe altogether one good photograph, 4 other possible, and 2 which were not interesting. Takes about 6 pictures in an hour and a half.